Arthur Blank, with all due respect, sir, you make absolutely 0 sense. Arthur Blank, please make up your mind. You wanted Deshaun Watson, but now you don't want Lamar Jackson? Make that make sense. What am I missing here? One man has an MVP to his name. One man does not. Make it make sense, because you are talking out of both sides of your mouth. On one hand, you want Deshaun Watson, but you don't want Lamar. And the reasoning behind it is that he's not available. That durability is the reason. But you didn't have a problem with Deshaun Watson not playing football for an entire season. And then he was going to be suspended for another full season. Of course, Roger Goodell shortened that to 10 games. But still, Deshaun Watson has missed how many games? And you didn't have a problem with that? Not when it comes to suspension. But you do have a problem when it comes to minor injuries? Not even major injuries. Arthur Blank, you make no sense. And it's trickling down into your franchise. Because now we have the Atlanta Falcons, who I think have had an underrated, deceptively strong offseason. From a front office standpoint, I like what you're doing. You signed Jesse Bates. You signed one of my personal favorites, David Onyemata. You signed a future Hall of Famer, Calais Campbell, an underrated linebacker, Caden Ellis. You even got my boy Heineken on top of it, but you do not have a quarterback, sir. So you have all this money invested now into your defense. You've thrown money to fix your defense at Jesse Bates, at David Onyemata. You've thrown money at it. You've also invested in older players. Onyemata, Calais Campbell, Casey Hayward, to name a couple. Grady Jarrett is older. And yet, you are going to run with Desmond Ridder? Excuse me? Really? Desmond Ridder, who, if I ranked all the quarterbacks today, all the starters, if you watched him at all last year, sure, he's a young quarterback. He can grow. He can learn. I'm not trying to just get after him and be public enemy number one to the Ridder clan or whatever you guys call yourselves out there. But he is not that dude. He is not the answer. And you have an opportunity to get a generational quarterback. You have the opportunity to literally fix your history. Arthur Blank, Atlanta Falcons. You have a quarterback that is Michael Vick 2.0. Yes, I'm going there. Okay? You have Michael Vick 2.0, who could sell the amount of tickets that Michael Vick sold, merchandise that Michael Vick sold, the popularity of Michael Vick, with a guy that actually has character, with a guy that actually has values, with a guy that actually cares about the sport, with a guy that actually shows leadership. Not saying that Michael Vick didn't eventually get there, but early in his Atlanta days, there was questionable character, questionable effort. Lamar Jackson is the opposite in those categories. And Lamar has only shown to be a winner thus far. Off the top of my head, he is the second best winner in terms of win percentage in the current NFL, only behind Patrick Mahomes. His record is outstanding. Lamar Jackson has played 5 seasons in the NFL. Lamar Jackson, injury or no injury, has never had a losing season. He has never been below 500. He has never even been 500. He has done nothing but win and put his team in position to make the playoffs, even with injury. I just don't understand how you can be so on board with wanting to bring in Deshaun Watson when your roster last year looked like a piece of poo. And now your roster actually has some pieces to work with. Arthur Smith has molded the offense into something extremely intriguing entering 2023. You got Kyle Pitts at tight end coming off a down year. I expect him to see a resurgence this year. Drake London looks like a real receiver. You have now Jonnu Smith, Mac Hollins, who you added to the receiving core. You have a very solid offensive line that is paid. You arguably have the best guard in football right now in Chris Lindstrom. You have a good right and left tackle. You have a pretty strong offensive line as a collective. You have an excellent running game led by young Tyler Algier and superhuman Cordero Patterson. You have it all for a Lamar Jackson to step in. And on top of that, you have the perfect scheme and system for Lamar Jackson. Arthur Smith wants a mobile quarterback. He wants a guy that can run. He wants a guy that can run 10 to 12 times to 15 times if you need him to. He wants to run play action boots. He wants to lean into the mobile quarterback, and you have one sitting there in Lamar Jackson, who is literally the greatest rushing quarterback in NFL history. You have the opportunity, Arthur Blank, to get off your rear end, or maybe your head is so far up your rear end that you cannot see. But Lamar Jackson is sitting there for you to trade for. And it's not even going to cost you that much. At this point, Lamar Jackson has indicated that he does not want to play for the Baltimore Ravens. He has indicated that he doesn't want to go to Baltimore, so another team is going to have to strike a deal. And you won't even do your due diligence and talk to Lamar Jackson and his mom and meet Lamar Jackson? You won't even do your due diligence. It's not even going to cost 2 firsts. It's going to cost like a first plus. And maybe your buddy Desmond Ryder, or however you say his name. I mean, come on. Are you that stupid? You put all this money into your defense. It's an older defense. You've got an offense now with perfect pieces for Lamar Jackson. 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, a stellar run blocking offensive line, a creative play caller, a good tight end like Mark Andrews, a alpha number 1 receiver who's got size. I mean, could it get any better? You put Lamar Jackson on this team, specifically this offense, you're scoring 30 points a game. Okay? I don't even care what your defense does. Your defense is going to be a lot better than it was last year. This is a contender in the NFC. Period. If you add Lamar Jackson. Like, I would pick the Falcons to go to the NFC divisional round without hesitation if Lamar Jackson was in Atlanta. Without hesitation. And then we talk about the merchandise, the ticket sales, the actual being on television. All these things would change for you if Lamar Jackson, the Great 8, was your quarterback. You really are not willing to invest and pay a 26-year-old former All-Pro, MVP, touchdown leader, 26 years old. Hendon Hooker is 25. He's coming out in the draft this year. That other guy that played at Georgia, he might even be older than Lamar Jackson. Who knows? And you won't pay Lamar Jackson, who's never lost in a season, who won an MVP, who's the most dynamic rusher in NFL history. And if I have to remind you, his record is 45-16. And some of the records he has, let's read them off. Most single season rushing yards, 1,206. Most single season rushing attempts by a quarterback, 176. Most 1,000-yard rushing seasons by a quarterback, 2. Most games with a perfect passer rating in the same season. Yes, I'll read that again. Perfect passer rating. Yes, Lamar Jackson, 2, tied with Big Ben. Most games with 100 rushing yards by a quarterback, 12. Most wins by a quarterback under the age of 25, 35. That's more than Mahomes. Youngest quarterback to ever start a playoff game, 21 years old. Youngest quarterback to achieve a perfect passer rating, 22 years old. Highest completion percentage in a game when attempting more than 40 passes. Completion percentage. Passing. 86%. Sure, he's missed some games. Do you really think he's going to continue to miss games? Because I don't. I don't think he's going to miss games every year for the remainder of his career. He's a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. Point blank, period. You will not pay him what you wanted to pay Deshaun Watson. Everybody knew you were on your hands and knees for grimy Deshaun Watson, and you won't pay Lamar Jackson. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You have the next Michael Vick sitting right here in front of your face. I can't believe it, man. Lamar is a game-changing quarterback. He changes the way a defense plays you. He changes the way your offense can attack. He changes what your offensive line gets away with. He changes what you can have at receiver because he's so good and so dynamic as a playmaker and a rusher that you don't need to invest at the position as much. He's a game-changing talent, a quarterback that can win a game by himself at any moment. There's only so many of those quarterbacks in this league. He is that good, and I don't understand why the NFL continues to treat him like he's not, and specifically a team like Atlanta, who can change the outlook of the NFC with one move, who can change the balance of power in the NFC with one single move, who can win their division by adding Lamar Jackson, who can have sustained long-term success and happiness from your fan base. I don't know. Maybe I'm the dumb one here. You guys let me know in the comments, but I'm frustrated if I'm a Falcons fan that you have not heard a single inkling that Lamar Jackson is going to be your quarterback, because I'm frustrated already. I know the offseason's not over. I know they can change their mind. I know things still have to happen, but I think it's unbelievable that this isn't the plan from day one, because it makes too much sense to not happen. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, Gronk, spike the like button and subscribe. Peace.